the state of California. And Natural Gas Services, a program for, with regard to innovations and risk management. Barry Keene and Marshall Clark are here to represent the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members. We're thrilled to be here, truly. For the fourth time in a quarter century, energy costs are fundamentally disrupting American lives. And this is further evidenced by the issue's placement this morning on the first column of the front page of the Wall Street Journal.
You guys must have really, one of you went to the USA Today and the other one of you went to the Wall Street Journal. What's going on here?
So we used our $20,000, no.
Don't count that time against me.
Well, the problem is both long-term and immediate. Our program does not tell society how to address the long-term upward trend in energy costs. Instead, it's designed to make fluctuations in energy costs as minimal, as tolerable, and as predictable as possible. Instability in world energy prices, coupled with deregulation, have replaced what used to be stable, regulated prices with an uncertain, volatile market. So public energy users will need to either replicate this program or create something like it to survive these uncharted waters. Our program demonstrates, we think, that tools exist to transform unacceptable market risks with very explosive political consequences into more acceptable risks. Marshall can best describe the financial tools we use, and then I'll be back.
Thank you, Marshall. We manage the risk by purchasing a portfolio of natural gas supplies. We use common market techniques, price ceilings, price floors, fixed prices, and floating market index prices. We have changed the normal procurement process, compressing the time from bid to selection, which normally takes up to several weeks, down to 45 minutes. We have overcome the isolation between two normally very separate disciplines within our department, procurement and energy management, into a team which is able to draw on the expertise of both of those divisions. And we have a very special relationship with our customers. Potential customers are free to buy from any gas supplier that they wish. And if they choose us, they're still free to leave if they find something better. It's a very voluntary kind of association with the program. And our customers partner fully in the process. They're part of the strategy and the choices for the program throughout the year. When our customers stay with us, and they do, we take that as a very direct statement on their part that we provided the very best service that they've been able to find. Barry will tell you something about the results of our program.
For its 121 customers, our natural gas services program saved some $15 million over 4 years, $6 million this past year. And administrative fees have averaged about 1.5%, and they're going to drop below 1%, we think. These intergovernmental partners are, as you might expect, state-level hospitals, universities, prisons, but they're also municipal entities, buildings in San Francisco and Los Angeles, county facilities, community-level special districts, water, transit, that sort of thing. More important than savings, price stability empowers our customers as drivers rather than passengers on the very hellish roller coaster ride that constitutes today's energy markets. So one important outcome is to avoid the diversion of program dollars to meet unexpected energy costs. A real-life example is the University of California. It bought about $15+ million worth of gas last year, and it did not have to cut academic services or raise tuition to pay the sudden spike on its gas bill. Now, as explained, this kind of effectiveness depends on the skilled application of known techniques to a correctly analyzed problem Replicability is something else. That depends on a fundamental change in the attitudes of public agencies. The comfort of ignoring risk has to be abandoned in favor of aggressive management. Simply passing along costs in a manner that mirrors the market fluctuations in energy prices is not politically sustainable. The gulf that exists between a rigidly ponderous and cyclical budget process and the bullet pace of change in today's energy marketplace is something that has to be recognized by public agencies and bridged. And finally, buying energy in a predictably rising market without risk management tools is unwise. But in a market that can change 5% in a single day, it can be dangerously foolhardy. Marshall and I would be very happy to try to answer your questions.
Bill Klinger.
If the program is as successful as you've indicated in terms of savings and also in terms of providing a sort of level supply or a reasonable and an expected supply, why not make it mandatory for all of the government agencies to affect the kind of savings you're talking about? That was my first item. The second question had to do with, we had a finalist here a year or two ago from Massachusetts, had a very similar program. And can you give us the differences between your program and how this is an additional innovation?
Well, in the first place, on the mandatory, we've discussed it back and forth. We come down pretty strongly that we like to have voluntary participation. First of all, again, it's a matter of letting the folks out there, the various facilities and departments, cities and counties, have a choice. They don't have to go with us. But more than that, I think it's a discipline on the program. The fact that we can lose customers if we don't perform, I think makes our program a lot better. We're constantly at the mercy of our own performance. If we don't perform, they can leave. If they couldn't leave, I think we'd have a very different program. I think we're better for having a voluntary program. In terms of the other program, I think that was the Massachusetts program. I don't know a lot of details about that, but my understanding is that they are buying gas on essentially a fixed basis. They're buying for a single year from a single supplier without the risk management approach. Again, I don't know their program really well, but I think the difference is primarily one of how we go about managing the risk and attempting to control the price volatility.
The voluntariness linked with a growing customer base tells us as a form of program evaluation that we're doing the right kinds of things, that we're keeping our customers happy and they feel safe and secure with us.
This is an interesting program politically in the context of what's going on in California and the controversy about the way California went about deregulating. And I wonder whether your success has come under political criticism from those businesses and individual consumers who have had to face these drastic spikes in prices and rolling brownouts and so on, and you all have taken care of the government side of that.
As of yet, that hasn't happened because while we deal in the natural gas area, the area that has had the friction on the deregulation has been the electrical area. We have a parallel program in the department for electricity, but because of the way the market's deregulated, we haven't actually done any business. We haven't seen the opportunities to do the same thing on the electrical side that we have on the gas. And so the friction that you've mentioned hasn't come up, but it's always a possibility.
It isn't apparent to us that we can extrapolate to other energy markets, especially those where mistakes of a major magnitude appear to have been made.
Carl Weisbrod.
I'm curious as to why you don't use the futures markets as a risk management tool, since that's the risk management approach of choice of so many private sector companies.
That's what we are using. What we do in our RFP process is we specify what we will pay for gas in the future. Not we, but our supplier, the winning vendor for that year, goes out and uses the futures market to nail down those prices so that they can deliver the guaranteed prices that we've required.
But you don't use, so you use a middleman, you don't go to the futures markets directly at all?
We thought about doing it ourselves, but what we saw was that they had far more expertise in being able to use that market and assemble the packages. We had the expertise in assigning what risk the public sector was willing to endure and shaping it out. We let them do that part because they do it better than we can.
We've also learned from the Orange County experience, the bankruptcy.
That was more of an investment strategy than a risk management strategy, I think. We found out.
The former mayor of San Jose.
Senator, is anybody at a high level in state government looking at a strategic plan for the state's energy procurement policy, if you will? I mean, you know, every day in the paper there seems to be something, whether it's one of these rolling brownouts or, you know, other things. It seems to me that a strategic plan would serve California very, very well.
You know, the governor has ordered that we come up with one, and we're working with those entities that are closest, public usages of energy, and we're restricting energy consumption pretty severely in the event that we're ordered to do so. Beyond that, local governments, for example, we need to partner with them and get them to buy into a total energy strategy. As you know, our relationships with local government leave a little to be desired, but we do want to work with them, and then, of course, the private sector as well. We hope that there will be pressure on them, a kind of peer pressure to emulate what we do at the state level, that if we set a good example, that they'll follow.
Time.